Well, good morning. It is March the 3rd, 2025, and straight from the highly caffeinated studio, this is According to Willie B, and I, Will Bryce, am your host for the next half hour. What mental trip am I going to take you on this week? Well, let me tell you, it's to Nashville, Tennessee, but don't get the wrong idea. I'm not going to Nashville, Tennessee to look for a recording contract. Trust me, I've heard myself sing, and it's not pretty. I can talk though, and which is what I'm going to do for the next half hour, and try to entertain you as I take you on a little mental vacation, even though it's Monday and it's been a long week already. So let's jump right into it, but I would be remiss if I didn't do our business shout out highlight of the week. And that award this week goes to All Business Solutions. He's down there in Houston, Texas. He does a point of sale, or POS, if you will, credit cards, IT. He just kind of does it all. When it comes to running your business, whether it's a restaurant or a meat market or a grocery store, whatever it is, this guy's got business solutions to fit the missing piece that you need. His number is 866-302-0412, and his name is David Lopez. So yes, si habla español. So they do a total business solutions. They are bilingual, and he's been doing this for a very long time. And when you call David, you tell him I sent you, and I promise you he will treat you right. So that's this week's business shout out highlight is All Business Solutions. So congratulations to y'all, and we wish you much continued success from the highly caffeinated studio. Now, I've got a couple other things on my plate that I need to serve to you before we get started on our way to Nashville. First being that, and I will continue to keep you updated, we did get the merch store up live on March 1st as promised. And so you can go to www.accordingtowillieb.com and check out the store. And there is a ton of more merch coming. And why do I say there's a ton? Well, it's in the South, and that's how we measure things, first of all. But the second thing is, I'm about to launch a second venture under the highly caffeinated studio that is going to highlight or put mom and pop restaurants, independents, in the limelight, if you will, no pun intended. And it's going to do it in a television show format on our YouTube channel. I've watched a lot of different restaurant reviews, and I just felt like there was really something missing that wasn't highlighting some crucial points of your mom and pop restaurants, if you will. Having been in the restaurant industry for so many years as owner, designer, etc., I just felt like there was some components missing. And so I'm hoping to fill that niche in this new venture called Culinary Highway. And more details will be coming on that soon. We've actually been out filming on location this past week, and will continue to do so until we're ready to launch that first episode. Hopefully by mid-March is my projected completion date. A lot of editing in those video format versus audio. Audio is just, it is what it is. It's unscripted, and here you go. So hope you enjoy. All right, so on top of all that, let's dive into our trip to Nashville, Tennessee. There was something really surprising to me about Tennessee, or about Nashville, that I did not expect. Now, that's the best kind of vacation, is when things happen that I don't expect. But this one came at me from left field, if you will. And the reason being because you know that I don't care for museums. However, I don't know that I would classify the Grand Ole Opry, the Country Music Hall of Fame, or the Ryman Auditorium. I don't know that I would consider those actual museums because they are actually living and they are continually evolving and adding more people being inducted, et cetera, et cetera. So to me, they're a living museum, if you will. So I got an opportunity to check out the Grand Ole Opry. And as many times as I've been to Nashville, it just didn't seem like something I really cared for. That just wasn't my thing. So we checked out Grand Ole Opry. And I had a wow experience at the Grand Ole Opry. And that was, if you've ever been or if you're familiar with the Grand Ole Opry and the Circle Room, it revolves around, I'll get it right in a minute, revolves around the circle. Now, what is the circle if you don't know? It is a place on stage where when they bring in someone who has been inducted into the Grand Ole Opry and they get their moment in the circle, that is the pinnacle of their career. Now, understand something. As I am not a performer, and most of my viewing audience is probably not a nationally known performer as well, we don't understand the significance or the power of stepping into that circle. But I will say that when I was there, we had our tour group that got the walkthrough was probably about 20 people. As I stood there waiting my turn, as we did it one at a time, to walk up and step into that circle, I visualized myself being in the shoes of a performer about to step into that circle and what that had to mean for them and the feeling that they must have felt at that time. I can't even fathom. But as I stepped into the circle, I imagined myself as a performer reaching the pinnacle of my career, stepping into that circle. And I'm going to tell you, at that moment was a jaw-dropping moment, looking around, standing in that circle, and imagining myself being the pinnacle of my career, standing there in front of all those people and standing in front of all those cameras. When I tell you going on vacation that you should look for an experience that puts your jaw on the floor, there's why. Because I can now take that experience and apply it to other facades of my life, if you will. Because now I can visualize myself standing in that circle at that moment that performers must have felt. And I can apply that to other areas of my life of taking in the moments that are important to us in life. Now, I'm not going to get off on a soapbox here, but I just want you to understand that going on vacation, if you aren't searching out those moments that leave you with a life-changing experience, you're missing out. Now, what do I mean by life-changing experience? Well, like I said, you're looking for an experience that is going to stay with you for the rest of your life, as long as your brain will possibly hold on to it, and be able to apply that experience to other areas of your life. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I go and look for on vacation. This is my reason for travel. This is my love for why I have the love for travel. It's not just going and sitting on a beach. I'm not the museum type. I want to be on a roller coaster of some type. That's why when I go out to eat, I'm looking for that experience. I'm not looking just to be fed. I'm looking for the experience that's going to make a difference, that gives me stories to add into my mental scrapbook, if you will. So there's that. So Then there's also the stage where Hee Haw was filmed. That also was really cool after all the years growing up watching Hee Haw and to be able to stand on that stage where so many had stood before. That was, again, it was just so impressive to stand on the stage and to be in the Grand Ole Opry and just view it as a living museum because it is constantly evolving. Now, I know what you're thinking. Okay, so you, I know you ate while you were there, Will. What did you have to eat? Well, I'm glad you asked. Because there are some restaurants in Nashville that just are just with I have no words to describe them. One in particular is called the Black Rabbit. Now, it's not cheap. So don't misunderstand me. This is not your typical lunch place, but it is phenomenal. And if you want to know what to have, because there's a lot of creative options on that menu, the bone-in pork chop, let me just tell you, the pig that they got that pork chop from lived a very happy life because it came through in the flavor. Now, you can view that however you want to, but it was that off the chain good. There's another place called Sinatra. Wait for this name, Sinatra Bar and Lounge Steakhouse. So I guess they were trying to fit in with the downtown vibe because downtown Nashville is full of bars, and we're going to talk about that in a minute. But this steakhouse, if you like steak, which I would think you would, and I'm a meat and taters kind of guy, that Sinatra Bar and Lounge had the most cool, laid back vibe I've ever seen in a white tablecloth restaurant. And the steaks they were like cotton candy. They just melted in your mouth. Now, I didn't just eat the fine restaurants. We also ate at a place called the Nash House, Nash House. We had lunch there, and one of the coolest things everybody has their take on something. And this particular place had fried pickles. And I know you're saying, all right, Will, everybody has fried pickles. Yes, but most either do the spear or they will do the pickle chips or AKA slices. They took the cucumber lengthwise and made these long, thin planks, and they turned that into a pickle and then breaded it and fried it. And it gave a really unique experience eating fried pickles. And they weren't as greasy as your normal fried pickles. Sometimes you can get fried pickles that if you save the grease, you can actually use that to go home and fry some fish. But, I digress on that. But these particular ones, for whatever reason, they were not really greasy and they were really good. The pickle that they made in house was just phenomenal. And it was a light lunch. We had some sandwiches, etc. But the Nash House was really good. I would love to go back and try something like for dinner or something. And I understand that they do a really good breakfast, but you're not going to wow me at breakfast, so I'd rather go try the dinner. Speaking of breakfast, well, the first thing you got to do is you got to have a cup of coffee. Now, if you don't drink coffee, call me after the show and let's talk about that. But for those of us that do drink coffee, that need coffee to survive, there is a place downtown called Franklin Rose Coffee Shop. That was some really good coffee, and I did not see it coming. I had heard that they had good coffee, and I thought, okay, I got to try it. And I'd already had my obligatory 3 or 4 cups, but saw the Franklin Rose coffee on as we were out walking, and I'm like, I have to get a small cup of coffee and have to try it. And I'm glad that I did. I went back the next day and had a larger cup. But very good coffee. They've got pastries and sandwiches, etc., stuff like that. But I didn't have any of that. It looked really good from what I saw, but their coffee is phenomenal. Breakfast. So this place that I'm about to tell you about was touted as best breakfast in Nashville. Anytime I see something like that, I'm like, challenge accepted. I got to go see. Well, first of all, let me just tell you, I don't care what day it is, you're going to stand in line and wait to get in. It's because it's really good. It is an independent, it's a mom and pop, but it's called Puckett's, Puckett's, Puckett's Restaurant. And their breakfast is absolutely just, I mean, really good. I realize what I've said in the past, that it's just bacon and eggs and you're not going to wow me. And, what I will say about Puckett's breakfast is the food was really good. The coffee was really good. The service was outstanding. So just an overall outstanding experience at Puckett's for breakfast. I would highly recommend them. I would also recommend checking them out for lunch. They had a really neat lunch menu. Now, as for things to do in Nashville, other than the Grand Ole Opry, the Country Music Hall of Fame, the Ryman Auditorium, etc., there are other things. You've got the Old Town Trolley Tour, which is kind of a hop-on, hop-off kind of tour that you can, and I'd highly recommend that because you can really walk yourself to death in around Nashville. There's a lot of places to see, and they're not all on the main strip, which is Broadway, and then you've got Printer's Alley. While I'm mentioning them, let's get something clear. If you don't drink, it's okay. But if you don't drink, why are you in Nashville? I mean, that town is a party town. But you can go and enjoy yourself if you don't drink. And the reason I say this, the reason I make an issue out of this, is that on Broadway and Printer's Alley, it is one little bar right after another. And they're just little small hole-in-the-wall dives, most of them. Every one of them, or most everyone, has a little stage, and I mean little stage, in somewhere in there. And there are musicians performing live music. And the premises, or the thought process, if you will, is if they're out in front of the public singing their songs and et cetera and performing, that they will get noticed there in Nashville and hopefully get a record deal and wind up at the Grand Ole Opry, correct? So there is a lot of great music to sit and listen to. So you don't have to drink. You can just go from one little dive to the other and listen to the live music. Now, if you want a different experience of Nashville, there is a place called the Whiskey River Saloon. You will also stand in line to get in. But it's 3 floors, and the top floor is on the rooftop. So to go up there at night, listen to live music, and look out over Nashville at nighttime is an experience I highly recommend. You got to go check that out. I think there are 1 or 2 more places that have rooftop access, kind of the same thing. I'm not sure what they are or who they are, but you can always do a Google search and find out. But it's definitely an experience that you got to check out. But the Whiskey River Saloon was really neat, and they had food as well, so you could get what I call bar type food, right? Burgers and nachos, et cetera, et cetera. Vacation food, basically, if you will. There's Madame Tussauds Wax Museum. Now, hear me when I say, please hear me on this, because I do not want you to go to a wax museum and go, well, you told me to go there. No, I did not. And I'm not telling you not to go, if that may be your thing. But if you have been to one wax museum, you've seen them all. I'm sorry, that's my honest opinion. You have seen them all. And, this one was no different. Again, it's the same as the one in Vegas. It's the same as the one, and there's one, I think there's 2 in Florida. They're all over the place. And it's not just Madame Tussauds. It's any of them. And if you know of one that really stands out different, you know what? Tell me about it. I'll go check it out. And then I'll come back and talk about it. But, for me, Madame Tussauds, I mean, it is what it is. It's the same thing. There is on Broadway, there is the Ernest Tubb Record Shop, which is part store, part museum. Now, Ernest Tubb was before my time, but it was, there was a lot of other celebrities in there as well, like Minnie Pearl, etc. Off the top of my head, that's the only ones I can think of. But you get the idea. So it was really cool to walk through there. Of course, they've got the obligatory T-shirts, etc., etc. There is a Nashville farmers market. There is a World War II memorial. So again, you could literally spend an entire weekend in Nashville and not see everything. There's river excursions. There's the old steam-powered boats with the paddle wheels. We did eat at and I wasn't going to mention this, but you know what? It is what it is. We did eat at the, kind of like I said about the Bubba Gump shrimp. We did eat at the obligatory touristy Paula Deen's restaurant. What did I think of the food? And it's not because I don't like Paula Deen. It's not because it's a celebrity inspired restaurant, and that's my term for that: celebrity inspired restaurant. You can't tell me these are her secret recipes because it's canned, pre-frozen, pre-breaded, pre-seasoned, pre-everything. And I get they have to do that in a national chain because they have to maintain consistency, and that's the only way they can do it. But it's not food that I'm going to put my name on. Would I go back again? Nope. Done it once, checked it off the list. And that's just my honest opinion. Look, I've gained a reputation my entire life. If somebody asks me, hey, Will, I'm going to be in this town, where should I go to eat? And I'm going to tell you, and I can promise you, if I'm telling you the name of a restaurant to go eat at, like Sinatra's or the Black Rabbit or the Nash House or Puckett's or whatever, you can bet your bottom dollar, even if it's your last one, you can bet it that it is going to be great food. I'm not going to lie about poor food. When we go travel, let me give you a little side story here. When we go travel, and let's say I get on this podcast and I talk about 8 different restaurants. I probably ate at 15 different restaurants. But especially if it's a mom and pop and the food wasn't that great or the service or whatever, I'm not going to get on here and talk about it. I'm not going to say anything bad. I'm just not going to say anything at all. Because I'm not going to bash a mom and pop restaurant for one, ever. But I'm also not going to put my name on it saying it's good. My stomach will not allow me to lie about best food. I'm sorry. My stomach will not allow me to lie about bad food. It just won't. And so that's my thing. I've earned a reputation for telling people the truth when it comes to what's really good and what is So that's just that's my opinion. As far as places to stay, we stayed at the JW Marriott downtown, Nashville. Very nice hotel. But being right downtown so that you can basically just leave your hotel. And it's very safe. I felt very safe. My wife and I walked around the whole weekend. Never felt unsafe at any moment. And that was anytime from in the morning to late at night. It never felt unsafe. It's a very busy downtown. So there's a lot of people around, which kind of adds to the safety of it, in my opinion, because you're around so many other people. It's kind of hard not that they couldn't. I'm okay. We're going to leave it there. But I just want you to understand that we felt very safe, is what I was trying to say in a very long, drawn out way. But would I recommend going to Nashville, Tennessee for a weekend? Absolutely. This town has so much to offer. And it doesn't matter what it is you're into, whether you're into country music, whether you're into museums, whether you're into late night bars and parties. This town just has so much to offer and so much history on top of it. You could just go for a weekend and just explore the history of Nashville, and you would have an absolute blast. So I would definitely recommend going to Nashville. It was probably the best time that I've had in a long time. Had some really great food. Please go check out some of these restaurants that I've mentioned. They're independents. They depend on our tourist dollars. And if you ever eat at a restaurant that I've told you to go check out and you don't get the same kind of experience that I described, you know what? Let me know. Let me know, and I promise you I will address it. Because I like I said, I stake my reputation on the restaurants that I tell you about. That is all the time we have for this show this week. But don't forget to follow us on social media, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. Almost got tongue-tied there. It's not hard to do. But make sure that you put it on your calendar to be listening to the next couple of episodes coming up, as I'll give more updates on the Culinary Highway show coming up on our YouTube channel. I promise you, you do not want to miss those episodes. We've invested a lot of money into equipment and etc. From logo to equipment and everything to make Culinary Highway a very polished show to be put on YouTube. So make sure you stay tuned and listen for the upcoming details. Don't forget to go check us out on www.acart. Boy, I'm really the butcher shop is open today, folks, because I am just butchering words left and right. So don't forget to check out www.accordingtowillieb.com, where our merch shop is, all of our episodes are, and all the upcoming information as well. I appreciate each and every one of you for listening. Don't forget to caffeinate and conquer, and I will see you again next week, and have a great day. Thank you.